Hi all, we're heading into half term. It's week 6 of Wednesday Wellbeing, and I wanted to talk a little bit about how to combat frustration and anger. Everybody has coped with lockdown differently this time. Some people have worked well during lockdown and enjoyed being at home and the safety that that brings. Others have found it more difficult, with the days of darkness and bad weather seeming to go on forever. So I thought I'd put together a few things that might help you get through those moments when you're feeling overwhelmed. In lockdown, have you felt like this? I know I have. There have been times when my computer just won't do what I want it to do. There have been times when I haven't been able to get hold of people either on the phone or via email that I've wanted to talk to. There have been times when I've been watching the television and there's just nothing on that I want to watch. And that makes your day feel as if it's not going the way you want it to go. That can actually make you feel very disempowered. And it makes you feel as if, what's the point? Well, there is a point. The point is that we can keep on going, that we can be the best people that we can be, and there is a light at the end of the tunnel. We will get through this, and we've just got to ride it out. So here are some of the ways that you can do that. What we also tend to do is we take out our frustrations on the people that are closest to you, and that's the people at home with you. This isn't fair, but this is what we do. So we need to take a moment to sometimes take ourselves out of the situation and have a bit of space. Did you know that the definition of frustration is the feeling of being upset or annoyed as a result of being able to change or achieve something? Well, we could all say that at the moment because we can't change our situation. It is also the prevention of progress, success, or fulfillment of something. So again, we are very likely to be frustrated because we can't lead our normal lives. But anger is a natural and healthy reaction. And that's the reaction to those frustrating situations. However, you shouldn't let that anger take over because it adds significantly to your stress levels. So angry outbursts can cause health issues like migraines, headaches, panic attacks, and in adults, heart attacks or strokes. So we really need to moderate our anger. Anger isn't just an emotional reaction, but a physical reaction as well. When we're angry, our heart rate goes up. You might experience tears. Some people actually experience laughter because they're so angry. But it is something that we all need to deal with at some point in time, and we need to know how to do that productively. Slow breathing can help you with all of these senses if you're overwhelmed. So you often hear people say, count to 10. And that's because while you're counting to 10, you're breathing more slowly and regulating it. Belly breathing is the easiest way to regulate your breathing. You simply breathe in and feel as if you're filling up your stomach with air. And then at the top of the breath, you hold it just for a couple of seconds, and then you breathe out as deep as you possibly can, getting rid of the air from your belly. Box breathing works well as well. This is about breathing in for so many seconds, holding the breath for the same amount of seconds, breathing out for the same amount of seconds, and holding the breath out for the same amount of seconds. So essentially, you're creating that idea of a box. Roll breathing isn't difficult either. You always breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth. As you breathe out, you make a whooshing sound, and you notice that your belly and chest move like waves, rising and falling in a steady motion. You place your left hand on your belly and your right hand on your chest, and you have to notice how your hands move as you breathe in and out. You can easily Google any of these 3 breathing techniques, and they're very simply explained. Whichever breathing technique you use, it will regulate your heartbeat and calm everything down. Box breathing in particular helps you to regulate your thoughts because you're concentrating on the amount of time that you're taking for each of the 4 actions. So you're thinking about that rather than the thing that's stressing you or making you feel frustrated. Progressive relaxation is another technique for helping you to relax. I've used this quite a bit, especially when I was younger through GCSEs and A levels. I would be led in bed, not able to go to sleep, feeling as if the clock ticking was the only thing going on in my head. By doing progressive relaxation, you are relaxing your muscles, one major muscle group at a time. And you close your eyes, you start with your toes, you tense them for a few seconds and then you relax. You then move on up into your legs and then further up your body. You can also go for a brisk walk. I like to go for a run as well, but I don't run every day. And the days that I don't run, I go walking. So it needs to be brisk and you need to make sure that your heart rate is raised. This will actually help lower your stress hormones like cortisol, and it improves your agility and gives you the ability to stay in a little bit of shape. Because at the moment, obviously, if you like going out to the park to play with your friends and things like that, we can't do that. So going for a brisk walk will really help. It also gives you a bit of room, a bit of space in your head because other people aren't around you. The other thing what it will do is because you're breathing in fresh air, that helps oxygenate your brain and helps you to learn later on when you go back to sitting down. Walking also helps to change how we think and is one of the best activities for self-reflection. So you can, like I said, you can reconnect with yourself. So you can work out problems or issues. Sometimes when I've learned something new, I go for a walk because it helps me to understand it better. It gives your brain to process. In the last slide, I talked about a little bit about people who like to be more physical. So if you are one of those sorts of people who like physical activity, get outside with a football and get your brothers and sisters out playing in the garden. You know, we don't all have boxing gloves at home, but sometimes a large pillow will do the trick. So if you're frustrated and you want to get some of that physical aggression out, then you can always punch into your pillow. Again, you might not have weights at home, but a couple of cans of baked beans or a couple of bottles of milk will offer resistance to you doing a little bit of a workout routine. This does exactly the same as walking, and also it makes you feel as if you've had a sense of achievement. So the positivity that you get from these sorts of exercises and these sorts of activities will not only emotionally improve your health, but physically as well. Now, something that I haven't done for a very long time is skipping. And I'm sure that we've all skipped, especially at primary school. Well, why don't you pick up a rope and get skipping? It's a very underrated exercise. The aerobic exercise gets your heart pumping, reduces activity and blood pressure, and if you're not a fan of a skipping rope, try a different aerobic exercise, such as running on a treadmill, cycling, jogging in the park, or just running up and down the stairs. Yoga is something a little bit more sedate, and it still works your muscles very, very well. So it's an exercise that purifies your mind and body and soul. And often if you find a yoga or Pilates activity on YouTube, they will talk about the sense of self and the sense of space and giving yourself time. So it's a spiritual approach to anger, frustration, and giving your body what it needs to be able to cope with that. So you can have quite an advanced yoga intense workout session, or you can have a very relaxed one. There's beginners yoga as well. My mum, who's well over 70, has been doing yoga for the over 60s. And this tends to be chair yoga, but she's loving it. And she's found that her joints are actually moving a lot better. So you could take up her example and try something new, something a bit different. So let's go back to the beginning. It's half term. You have 5 days of which to find things to do. So look at any of the previous Wellbeing Wednesdays and think about planning your days. Use Google to look at the weather forecast. See which days are better than others so that you can get outside on the very best days. You could go for a run or a walk, play football in the garden. And if you're not into that sort of activity, you could take your phone out with you. We've all got cameras on our phones with different sorts of screens on. Why not take some really interesting photos? Here I've suggested going out in the evening and taking some photos of different sunsets. Remember though, you shouldn't take photos of people because you don't have their permission. You could also do stuff in the house. So if it's a bad day or cold or snowing, you could do some cooking or baking, watch a film or a program. I know that some of you did that the other week. You actually watched a film together, ate popcorn and then talked about it after. Get on the phone to your friends and have a good chat about all the things you want to do when lockdown's over. If you want some space from others, you could do some drawing or some colouring. But whatever you do next week, try to get away from the screen as much as possible, because the week after, when we're back, we'll all be back looking at the screen for quite some time per day. I found this quote on Google and I actually thought it was very relevant for where we're at the moment. So have patience with yourself, have patience with others. And whatever you do, have patience with the circumstances. Have a good half term.